All right, babes, it's Bimini, and today's guest is one of my friends and a huge inspiration. Born in Torquay, dynamic DJ and producer, renowned for his high-energy performances and genre-blending productions. He began his musical journey immersed in 90s rave culture and has been instrumental in shaping London's LGBTQ club scene, co-founding influential nights such as Super Electric Party Machine and What Club. And also our new banger, Keep On Dancing. Today's guest is Absolute. Woo! How you doing?
Hi, baby. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited for this. We're going to get into it. We're going to have Jenny, but Jenny's going to be on here soon. We're hoping we're going to have a little crossover with Jenny because the three of us would be... Although we interviewed Jenny and then she was talking about some nightclub in...
Yeah, we're like, okay, well, you're not on the podcast anymore, babe.
That was your favourite nightclub memory, right? How have you been? What have you been up to this morning?
I've been good. I've been to Barry's.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
What's Barry's like?
Do you know what? Yeah, one of my friends actually roped me into a 10-part challenge within about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we've basically been doing Barry's together. And I feel pumped today from it. I feel very juicy, 1-800. But we're going to get into it, and I want to get into like so much because for those that don't know or won't know, I met you probably about 10 or 11, well, probably 12 years ago now.
Yeah, it would have been over a decade
East
ago.
Block, I think, maybe?
It was East Block in a grimy East London basement at a queer party that I used to run.
Yes. East Block. So East Block doesn't exist now, does it?
East Block. It doesn't exist as
Janisha's not on the door anymore.
Janisha's not on the door. So for me, it's done. As soon as Janisha left,
yeah,
she was the icon.
She was.
I think it's like, I don't know if someone said it was like a sex club now, but I mean, if you haven't been, then it can't be that good.
I mean, I swear people were having sex in that club anyway, but maybe it was just me. So yeah, nights there. Was that your first, like, obviously you were going out and stuff, but was that your first time running events or running nights?
Yeah, I was running 2 nights. So the first one was called Super Electric Party Machine with Larry T.
Yeah, I remember getting paid like £50 to host it.
Yeah.
Blue head twink.
Bring all your mates. Here's 50 quid. And so that was at East Block. And then it evolved into What Club.
Yeah.
And then Larry went away, and then I kind of evolved What Club into like the bigger thing that it became after that. But that was the first night that I started running, and I did learn so much from Larry because he was involved in New York nightlife. He was running like Disco 2000 in the sort of height of Club Kid era in New York. So that definitely shaped the way the party went. And I think one of the reasons it became so colourful and so creative and so kind of batshit, basically.
Yeah, but that was brilliant. And that was like when I'd first kind of moved to London and I was like figuring it out, still figuring it out. Don't think I'll ever figure it out. But I was going out and like finding places to go. And I remember going to East Block and I'd go into East and I was like, okay, this is the shit. Like, these are the people, you know? Like, who was it? Like, obviously Larry was great, but like, is that where you kind of met Glyn Fussell?
Yes. So I met Glyn through because I think I kind of just met everyone because we were doing, at the time, we turned it into a weekly party. So we would do every Friday night, which is kind of just this relentless slog of speaking to people. But because of that, I met everyone on the scene. And then the people that you become super close with, Glyn become one of my closest friends of life. We ended up living together for years. And that was all through a grimy East London basement.
And that's where the best friendships, relationships have started. I feel like that was my energy. That was what hugely inspired me. Like, and I know you as well, like Club Kid era and like obviously Larry T New York, like you were just saying there, like that era was hugely shaped me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even now you see so many people in Lex, it's all kind of reference through that, like it's all coming from the past. Even like the Lee Barry exhibition,
totally.
I kind of feel it all kind of feeds into the same ethos of that sort of kind of crazy punk out of the ordinary spirit, which I had never really experienced properly in real life until we were running parties in East London. And I really feel like I met my East London queer family at that time. And I'd never, up until that point, the only sort of queer spaces, or they're actually just gay spaces, I guess, were like regional gay clubs, were like sticky carpets, terrible music. Not like there's nothing exciting or inspiring about it at all, apart from the idea that you might actually be able to get laid. Like that was it.
Was this pre-Grindr?
Yeah, this was like before the internet.
Before the internet. Well, this is it. Like, I think the spaces, and even like we're saying regional spaces, we actually need to protect those as well, because like we are losing spaces everywhere. And like, I didn't really have any gay spaces or queer spaces when I was growing up. But well, I wouldn't have got in. But there was one wine bar that I was getting in when I was 15, and like it was when TikTok Kesha came out.
A wine bar?
15? A wine bar, yeah. So it was a gay wine bar. It was a gay wine bar. It's obviously like, ooh. Yeah, I won't go into that story of the Kesha. But anyway, that we need those spaces, and they're so important. But I think when I came to London and found those spaces, that was where I was like, okay, this is the scene that I love. I admired it, but I was also like a bit. Like everyone felt so larger than life and like personalities, and I felt a bit like,
so many characters.
Yeah, so many characters.
I think as well because it was also is a space where people could actually be not only free to be who they want to be, but also kind of empowering each other, and you were kind of pushed to get to like sort of maximize your personality to as much as you wanted. Because I guess as well, like you've only been in spaces where you were kind of minimizing yourself or dimming your light all the time, and then all of a sudden you're in this space where you can just shine as bright as you want. So then, you know, I mean, I got fucking neon hair. That's how I shined, you know?
Well, I love that. Well, the neon hair, I used to be a blue-haired alt twink, as ChatGPT would say. But like, why do you think those spaces are so important? Like, why do you think we need them?
I mean, I literally felt like I found my life purpose. I guess I was already working in music, and I was already, already knew I wanted to work in music. But I think I found a group of like-minded people, which I'd never found growing up in a small town in Torquay. And being surrounded by all these people that you're inspired by, that you respect, that have similar interests to you, it's almost like you all magnify each other. And it's not just about going out and getting fucked. Like that's, you know, obviously there are people do that. And we're doing that, but it was so much more than that. I think it's about empowerment, and you don't even realize it at the time. It's not like I was going there thinking this is really going to empower me, or you know, but just the byproduct of being around so many like-minded people that inspire you, and also kind of niche for me back then. It was finding queer people that might have been involved in fashion, but also loved the music that I loved. Like I was never excited by going to gay clubs and the music ever. But when we started something that we wanted to listen to, start a party where we could listen, where we wanted to create the music that we wanted to listen to. We were playing, you know, there was usually two rooms. One was like, we were playing just like underground house and techno or electro. And then the other room was a bit more fun, but it was always had to have that sort of thread through it, which was really good fucking music that I want to listen to that and I'm inspired by. So that coupled with being around people that inspire you as well, it was a really fucking powerful thing.
Well, I think that's so right. And I think coming to those nights was like my first way into kind of more of the electronic dance music, not just the scene of that, but like hearing it, like hearing underground house and techno. Like I wasn't hearing that in like Great Yarmouth. I was hearing jungle and drum and bass and like dubstep, because that was like massively happening there. And I was going to raves, but like house and stuff, I wasn't. And I was like, oh my God, house is so gay.
Gay, funky house.
It's
like the gayest
handbag
thing.
house. It is, and it's like just hearing some of those songs, and that was like, okay, this is so sick. But those spaces are so important. Torquay, let's go there. You grew up in Torquay.
Yeah, so I grew up in Torquay.
Would you say, because I feel like what you said a minute ago about you don't even realize it at the time. I think because as queer people, you mask a lot of things because you try to like fit into this idea of what society is. So when you go to those spaces, you're kind of like a kid in a candy box.
Yeah, like
you go crazy. Do you feel like Torquay, you were masking a bit, or like?
I mean, I definitely was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I think when the thing about Torquay at the time, it's a small sort of seaside town, but it was like a tourist town, so they did have some nightlife. A lot of it was quite trashy, but there was a club called the Monastery, which was like the first proper club that I went to. And they had international guest DJs. It was like hard. The tunes were hard, so it was like techno, hard house.
Okay, cool.
And there was music that I actually did was inspired by the first time I went there. I've met some of my friends that I'm still friends with now. One of my best friends, I think I told you this the other day, that we were in this club in Torquay, which is a converted church. It opened at 12 o'clock, shut at 6 a.m. They didn't serve alcohol. So it was like people were...
So what were people doing until 6 a.m. with no alcohol?
The power of music.
Yeah,
the power of music. But the very first time I was there, I was with a gay friend of mine, and we were up in like the chill out area, and he was like, "Oh my God, there's Kylie." I was like, "Babe, we're in Torquay. It's 4 a.m. We're in a converted church called the Monastery. I'm pretty fucking sure that is not Kylie." No. And he may have been a little bit loose, shall we say, at the time, for the first time. So I was like, it's not Kylie. So no, he was like adamant that it was Kylie. I was like, okay, well, let's just fucking speak to her then. So we like trot over this like 4:30. We chat to her. Obviously, it's not Kylie, but the girl that it was is now and has been since then one of my closest, bestest friends.
That's so wild.
Yeah, like shout out Ellie Fazan, we love you. And to the point that I was just staying at a house. I'm now like godfather to our son. Like that's
so lovely.
And I think the power of like coming together, or especially in regional spaces, I think it's almost like a similar thing to queer spaces. Sort of people, like-minded people gravitate towards each other. And for us, it was music that brought us there, and the idea and the excitement of this new club that was open all night. But through that, we've created bonds that actually are like family.
See, and that's like, you're at a space where there's no alcohol. Like, you don't need alcohol to have a good time. No, I think that's so important. The power of like the meeting people in clubs. Like, my worry, and I know we share the same, is like the younger generation. If you're listening, go outside. No, the younger generation. Like, we need the spaces are so important to find identity and like find just who you are. And I think, it can be messy sometimes, and that we know that. Like, there's a lot of like things around to take you off your thing, but like I think you need to express yourself. You need to let go and like find who you are and like listen to things that like will challenge you, or see things that will challenge you. And I think like the world, it feels like it could be getting more diluted now, and like everyone's a bit more like angry. We all just need to have a fucking party.
That's it. Just I think fulfilling yourself when you get to explore all these different parts of yourself that you've never explored, and you realize the ones that resonate, it kind of just forms you as a whole person. Like you
totally.
And it's and everything does feel like it's watered down or mainstream, or everything is viewed through the eyes of social media, which is obviously not, which is a one-dimensional form, especially nightlife or clubbing. I feel like there was just for so long, it's like all you see is that 15-second clip of like just before the track's about to drop, everything's building up, the track drops, everyone's hands are in the air, and then I think people have this image of like that's how nightlife should be, and if it's not, then but it's, which is really sad for a start, and also like unsustainable, because we need contrast in DJ sets, we need peaks and troughs, you want to be taken into different spaces, you want to hear things that you didn't know you needed to hear, like yes, we love the big drop moment, it's at a peak in the night, for certain spaces, but I think it's much more about the other nuances that you can feel on the dance floor that I think is definitely missing.
You want to get lost in the music. You don't want to like be waiting for, or you do want to be waiting for that moment.
Yeah, you want tension and release, but there is tension and release in different scales.
Not just like boom, drop. Yeah, totally agree. And what do you think makes a great DJ set?
Hearing things you didn't know you needed to hear, like that's for sure. I think contrast. I was a lover of just playing things that are unexpected, but making them flow together in a way that feels cohesive. But I think surprise for sure. Like for me, if I go to a DJ set and I like don't know half the tunes or I don't know a lot of the tracks, like that's, and I'm still having an amazing time, that's my sweet spot. Like I want to be educated as well as enjoy the night. I don't want to go to somewhere where I know all the tracks. That feels dull and boring.
How do you feel like your love of electronic dance music has progressed? And do you think like, because I know my my love of it has changed and it constantly changes, but I feel like different genres I've fallen in love with over the years. And like at one point I was just pure disco head, like old disco, like, and now I don't really ever listen to disco that much. Like it's a bit more like, so it changes a lot, but like how has your relationship with it changed?
Sure. I mean, I was always obsessed with dance music, even when I was like a little kid. I would be just like buying vinyl. I had nothing to play it on. I was just obsessed with the music that I just kept buying it.
I think I read somewhere that you were meant to get, your dad gave you some money to get something and you bought a...
Yeah, I was supposed to get clothes for like, I think I was like 13 or something at the time. And my dad gave me some money to get some new clothes. And I realized that like if I haggled with this at this shop, I could get this secondhand record player. So I ended up buying that instead. And my dad's like, where are these clothes? And I'm like, but Dad, I've got this record player. Like he was obviously like fuming at the time. But that moment was one of the most powerful. I mean, it will happen at some point anyway, but like that moment was a really powerful shift in the way that I felt towards music and my access to music. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was part of the music in like a bigger way than I already was. It was almost like it became mine at that point. Or I was allowed to be a part of that, which was like really powerful. Like I didn't realize at the time, but that was something that gave me fuel to just keep pursuing this thing that I love, which was just like dance music.
Well, that's a pivotal moment for you, I think, in like your identity and like finding out like where you wanted to go. And like, obviously knowing music is, but like, did you think that you'd be able to make a career in music?
Never. Like even until, I mean, for so long, I never ever thought it'd be a career. I just had this passion that just like never ever went away. Like I was always like drawn to it. I would be DJing. Would just have like random jobs, but I'd be DJing at the time. And then it just kind of kept carrying on. I moved to London. I started working at a DJ agency, so I could kind of basically because I wanted them to sign me. But I also wanted to learn the back end of the scene and the process of it all and understand the industry. And it was then that I met Larry.
Because I ended up being his agent, and then we decided to just start a party, and then I left being a DJ agent and just became a club promoter full time. And that's kind of when I was...
What year was that? Can you remember? Like, was it around 2013, 14? Or was it before that?
Yeah, it would have been probably maybe like 12 years ago now.
Yeah. So I think that's when I knew you. That's how I met you.
Yeah, it was definitely like when we were just starting doing nights. So then I guess I was doing music full time. I was just DJing everywhere, so anywhere someone would book me. But I don't think it's not really the same as being like an artist, but it did teach me so many skills. Like I know I can go into any room and I know what I need to do. So
you need them, but you need that, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's
I know. I always know I can just like turn a space out, and I learned that through playing in so many fucking shit places that. It's kind of
and probably for like little money,
for like no money. Playing in like a bar on a Wednesday to like 5 people, But they're sort of. But it meant I put the hours in.
Totally.
And then when I was doing the club nights, we were running like every single week until like 6 a.m. So I also then learned how to play at every single slot again. So just kind of fed into how and when to play certain music.
Well, that's so important, I think, as well. Not even just like the wealth of knowledge and like building that like expertise, but like I think a lot of people just assume that you can just do it straight away, and if it doesn't happen straight away, then like what's the point, Or like people think it can just be, but like you've got to hustle, you've got to work, you've got to do the thing, and like having that experience makes you different to another artist, for example. Like I definitely would have seen it over the years, like with people that might not like necessarily have the experience of going on a stage and performing, but then they get like opportunities in different ways. But I think like people just need to get their fucking ass up and work. So nobody wants to work these days.
So yeah, putting in the hours, like there is no better way.
To grow with it. And like I feel, because it's interesting, because I feel like, when did you start releasing music?
Probably
you would have been putting mixes out, I'm sure, for years.
Because I've putting mixes out, and then I kind of had like a bit of an alias before I was Absolute, that we put out like a few bits when I put some stuff out with Larry T, but that was like sort of
supermodel work by then.
which was like 10, 12 years ago. But then I think releasing as Absolute,
I think maybe 8 years.
so it still took a few years of me working on that. But I was running these club nights and I was like, it wasn't quite giving me exactly what I wanted. And then I just stopped. I was just like, I need to just take a leap of faith. And I feel in life, whenever I've taken a scary leap of faith, whether that was moved to London or just when I was like, I'm dedicating myself to wanting to become an artist, and I just stopped all of the club nights. I didn't really know how I was going to pay my bills, but I just knew that I had to make this happen. And it was like, I was kind of like absolute in it, which was one of the reasons why we came up with the name Absolute. And it was almost just like as a reminder to keep, like, there's no plan B. Like, you've just got to take a leap of faith and dedicate everything. And that's what I did. And then it's still, even with that, it took, things did kind of move quite quickly in terms of getting gigs, but actually releasing music and getting to a point where I felt I was being successful, it was still like a number of years past that.
It takes time though, doesn't it? It's not like an overnight thing. And I think people don't always realize that, like the amount of work that goes into it. And even back to what you said a minute ago, like you were DJing and you're picking up work, but you were working other jobs at the same time. Like I'm sure those other jobs were just to sustain you being able to DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was like, I even got to a point where I was like, I can either get like, when I came to London, it was like, I was just pretty much working in music, which I was grateful for. But it was like, I had to just take all of the DJ work everywhere. And some of it is a bit soul destroying, but it was like, do I want to go and sit in an office, or do I want to be a DJ? And so I kind of took that route. I guess there's no really right or wrong way, but it also meant that, like I said, I learned so much along the way.
I mean, also it's like you're sticking to what you love and what you want to do, and like that's always going to happen. There's always going to be those moments, but now you get to kind of like, you know, your shit, like you know what you're doing, where you got like, you've had the recognition. Like I've felt honored to work with you and just see your work ethic as well. And like this bitch on production is insane. Like obviously I will be plugging Keep On Dancing very soon, so we'll get into that because we have just dropped a banger. But seeing you just like, it's like a magician. So it's amazing. Like, and that dedication to it, like it's just the love of it is like hugely inspiring. So I'm glad you stuck at it.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. I mean, your work ethic as well, bitch, is
like, and I need a day off. No, no, but you got to.
Have a day off, will you?
Have a day off. I've got an afternoon off, but I can't really get up to what I wanted to get up to because had some news earlier on. Won't go into it. But I've got to go to clinic. It's fine. We've got everyone get tested, yeah?
Stay safe, guys.
But like, so have you felt pressure? Because I know I have. Have you felt pressure with the music that you've wanted to release versus what people have expected you to release or told you to release?
For sure. I feel like when I was becoming quite successful as Absolute and I was starting to like tour the world, I signed a label deal during lockdown, which kind of was helpful, like got me through.
Yeah.
So I wrote an album during lockdown. And then when that came out, became successful, I was on the cover of Mixed Language, which is one of my career highlights for sure. But then it was, everything's kind of in motion, and then you're kind of expected to keep
that momentum
out. But it kind of, I feel in that model, you kind of lose the art form of it, and you're making stuff to facilitate a gig or facilitate getting played on Radio 1 or facilitate a playlist. And I feel that just sucks out any of the artistry in something. And it's just it can become a relentless slog if you're not careful. And it depends also who you're signed with. I was signed with kind of a major, so there was a lot more pressure. They've invested a lot more money. You've got all these different teams that are doing these different jobs, and then there's all these different people working for you. And it's to push the thing forward. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of pressure, and it's this kind of slog. And it's sometimes, yeah, I mean, for a while, it definitely made me kind of lose a bit of the passion, and just I wasn't necessarily happy in what the situation I was in. And then I think and then my DJ performances, again, it goes back to this, I really want this peak moment and hands in the air, which was really magnified after lockdown because everybody did need release. So
yeah, totally.
You know, so there was just like, naturally there was just more of that because that's
what we needed and how we felt. But then also you kind of get into this role of being that person and being this like tornado, neon twirling tornado, which I am that energy, but I'm not always that energy. And I don't want to have to like be this like performing monkey where I'm just switching it on if it's not natural and it's not authentic. And I think I've evolved a lot as an artist since then. And that isn't really what I wanted to do anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's just, you definitely have to keep check on what makes you happy and what drives you. Yeah. Which is now why the music that I'm making now, both as Absolute and a new project that I have coming out, is I'm writing music, especially with the new project. I'm writing music for me.
That's how it should be.
Irrelevant if someone else likes it or not.
Totally.
I think because of that, more people will.
If it's authentic, I think it resonates more.
Yeah. And it's stuff that I'm proud of and excited by. And I'm not, it's not for any one particular space. It's just for the joy of making art.
Well, I love that because I feel like I definitely relate to what you said about like taking the soul and the happiness out when there's a big machine like pushing. Because I think when there's that pressure, it can be really difficult. And we see it with a lot of artists, you know, like the expectations. And I love that what you said then, like, I'm not going to be the performing monkey that everyone expects because that's just not what I want to do. Artists evolve and change and people need to respect that. And if you're in on the journey or you're a fan, you'll know that. Like some of the best artists in the world completely change over the years all the time, you know? So I think it's like allowing that space to do that and also being aware of it and like knowing that, you know what, this is not making me happy. I need to do it for me and like put out what you love. And I think that's so important.
Yeah. I mean, I've always like, what's the point if we're all just making this music that fit in a certain space or playlist?
It's hard because it's different to 20 years ago when everything's CDs or you can go and buy them. Now everything's run by the streaming services and like radio has such a big impact and it's like you want to get recognized for your work but then it's like how much of that can you stick to you when making it you or are you just trying to feed an algorithm? And like I think there needs to be a change with that really. And it worries me with AI because I think AI is taking over a lot of the algorithms and that worries me because like how are you going to hear nuance or understand the meaning behind a song if it's just all going to become formulaic more so?
Totally. It just becomes like modularized into this just sameness of
nothing that's too exciting.
Yeah, nothing that like excites me.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about just trying to do something. Obviously, we need to fit into a medium that people enjoy, but you know, artistry is about pushing boundaries and creating change. Art for me is like it's how I want to. It's how I speak. It's my social commentary.
Totally.
It's my thoughts on life. But we can't all be having the same thoughts and the same vision. It's like
how boring would that be? Like that would be so boring if I had to like have sex with myself. Actually, no, it wouldn't. But like if I was thinking the same as everyone, you know, like it would just be boring. Although I wish I could shut up sometimes. But what I was going to say is like, so your activism as well, like I think is something that I love too. And like we actually, and I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to say who, we've got a song coming out together, which is all about social commentary. And like, I got to come in studio with you and like be part of that. And it was an amazing process, which I'm excited for people to hear. But I think that's also hugely important and that inspires me. And that's why I think Keep On Dancing that we've just released, you can go and stream on everything. That's also social commentary because we wrote that and you produced it. Like we did it because we love the dance floor and we're losing those spaces.
Completely. Yeah. That's it. So that's our, I think as well, music it needs to be like more punk and rebellious. Like that's
totally
art in general. That's one of its main purposes, I feel. And we lose that if it's just watered down into a format that an algorithm is going to enjoy.
And that's what worries me as well. But I think, I'm excited for that collab. But like, we've got Keep On Dancing out now. That when I first heard that like vocal sample that you put in there, that euphoric moment, I was like, this is it. Because we were in the studio like making another record, actually. We were making a Pamela Anderson remix. Which is a video, like, put the Pamela Anderson video on. It's quite jokes. But then that came up and I was like, no, this is fucking great. Like, let's work on this. Like we wanted that like old school sound, the 90s.
Yeah, it's like that sort of 90s euphoric banger energy.
Yeah.
And then the vocal is just, it takes you back to some of those records.
And neither of us know what it is.
Yeah. And every time it comes on, still now to this day, we're like, I'm singing something else, you're singing another thing.
But like, so actually, jury's out. If you listen to the song, let us know what you think the vocal sample is saying, because I think it's saying feel love, and you think it's saying say your mind.
Yeah.
But who knows? Music is up to interpretation.
Yeah. So the remix that we're doing, it's with an artist that we both love.
Yeah.
Again, someone who always is quite political in their approach. They're very forthright in their opinions, which again, like feels so necessary. It's
Totally.
the theme of the tune. It's something that's very much in the minds of a lot of people again. And it feels like a punk, rebellious tune packaged in a format that is like in dance music. Which, I'm like so happy with the...
I am as well. It's honestly a banger. Like your production on it, and then like the shit that I say. I'm excited for it. And like the artists that we work with.
Are we allowed to say?
Yeah, fuck it. Planning to Rock.
Yeah. We love you.
We love you, Planning to Rock. So thank you for this. Really excited for that to come out. Yeah, we remixed Let's Talk About Gender.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so like right now we know what's happening. Save the dolls, save the trans guys, save everyone that's trans and queer and non-binary. Fuck you, Donald Trump. You're a little bitch. And that's all I'll say on that one. Right, this is called The Peace of My Mind, which is going to be a new thing that I forgot to do last episode, but did the one before. Peace of my mind. So basically it's something that people say, or like people have an opinion say, and I just want your opinion on it. Like if it pisses you off, what do DJs actually do?
They post on social media.
That's a good one, yeah. The sync button.
I don't know her, but if you need her, give her a hug.
I definitely don't use her either, and I think sometimes I should have when I can't hear properly. Industry hierarchy.
I mean, inevitable, but let's break the ceiling on hierarchy by just... I think, especially people from working class backgrounds, you know, like that's where I came from, and that's where you came from. I have so much respect for people in the creative industries that came from working class backgrounds, because there's like, you know, there's no handouts. We've got to take loads more risks. Everything is up and down. We never know what the fuck's going to happen, and we're
generally better.
But because of that, there's the tenacity gets us through, and we create something different. So,
and the grit, yeah, it's so important. And I think it's definitely the creative industry. People don't even realize is so hard in that work. If you're working class, and like I think the industry is made up of like 22% or something working class people, which is hardly any.
I thought it was. I had 8% the other day. I don't know if that's
8%. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'm thinking of like fashion, but maybe it was like maybe. Okay, two more. Phones in the club.
I'm definitely think their spaces are much more inclusive and fun than phones not there.
And dark rooms.
I've never really been a fan of dark rooms, to be honest. I think they used to scare me when I was first going out. There was actually one in this gay club called Rockies in Torquay, which is the first place I went to. I'm like, my friends and I, when we were like 18, would just like run downstairs, like open the door and like scream in there and then like run upstairs. So I don't know why, it's always kind of scared me. I think I like to see who I'm getting with.
Yeah, fair enough.
But good for you, girl. If it gets you off, like, I mean, go for it. Whatever works.
I've never been in a dark room.
You've been in you.
Okay, so Pieces playlist now. What's your rebel anthem?
Ooh, my rebel anthem. Probably something by Planning to Rock. They're a bad bitch, and I think they're incredible. Or maybe something by like The Knife. Or Peaches, Fuck the Pain Away.
Fuck the Pain Away. I love performing that one. A song that makes you feel hot, powerful, and absolutely untouchable.
I mean, it probably needs to be to feel in that mode. It's kind of probably going to be like trashy pop. Maybe like it's going to be like a Charlie XCX or something.
Yeah, Brat Summer. And a track that you wish you'd written.
Born Slippy by Underworld.
Same.
that would be
Fucking insane.
I like literally think I'm doing that every time I go in the studio, and then I hear it back, and I'm like, oh, that's not possible.
yeah, like, oh, okay.
Okay, so last question. Thank you so much for coming on. We've got the song "Keep On Dancing" out now, so go and stream it.
10 out of 10 banger.
10 out of 10 banger. And thank you for everyone that has already done it and all the love and support we've got from it, because it has been such a beautiful reaction, and I really appreciate it. I know you do, and got to keep on dancing, baby. There's going to be a lot more coming. But last question, what advice would you offer to emerging artists who aim to blend music but also have something to say?
Find your voice, find what you want to say, have something to say
In the first place, never ever give up and keep practicing until you get there, bitch.
You heard it here first. Thank you so much for coming on The Pieces. Love you.
Love you, baby.
Yay.